Show business personalities have been paying tribute to Eric Morecambe, one of Britain's best-loved comedians who died during the night after a heart attack, his third in 16 years. He collapsed minutes after appearing in a charity performance at Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. He was 58. Eric Morecambe and his partner Ernie Wise enjoyed a career spanning more than 40 years, and their Christmas television shows were for many a traditional part of the festivities. They were awarded the OBE in 1976. Recently, Eric's poor health had forced them to make fewer appearances together. This report from John Spicer.
Without exception, Eric Morecambe is being remembered with warmth and affection from all walks of show business life. Des O'Connor, so often the butt of the comedian's humour, described Eric as a wonderful friend and added this.
We've lost some dear friends recently in show business, but I didn't ever feel, I somehow felt, I wouldn't say that Eric was indestructible, but I felt that Eric was a gift to us of laughter that would never be taken away from us. Probably that remains the same. I think the laughter happily it's on record, it's on screen, and like Laurel and Hardy to the big screen, I think Eric and Ernie will represent the small screen.
Eric Sykes, recalling the recent death on stage of Tommy Cooper, said this had been the worst month in his life. He said Eric's death left a big hole in show business, and even people who'd never met him regarded him as a friend. Actor Fulton Mackay, who worked with the comedians in a full-length film, paid this tribute.
He had a great quality of always being moving. Behind everything that was funny, he was so real. Although he extended his comedy to a great extremity, there was, the basis of it was such reality and such a feeling all the time that there might be tears behind it all.
Stan Stennett is the manager of the theatre in Tewkesbury where Eric Morecambe had done a charity show last night before his collapse. He said Eric answered questions about his health and the open-heart surgery he'd undergone after his last attack. He'd said how grateful he was for a new lease of life. Mr. Stennett said Eric Morecambe was joking almost to the end.
Last night there were 400 people there. I know there are millions today mourning his passing, but there were 400 people there who will never ever forget last night because they not only saw a genius at work, but were aware, obviously, at the end, there was something radically wrong.
Angela Rippon, now working on American television, told me from Boston that she broke down in tears when someone told her the news.
In a world that's full of so much unhappiness and wickedness and evil and darkness, that Eric was one of those people who reminded us that the world was full of laughs as well, and I think in that respect he was a singular, very bright light in what at times was a very, very dark world. He was one of the kindest, the zaniest, and one of the warmest, really naturally nicest people I've ever worked with in television.
And Ernie Wise, who'd had a sleepless night being kept informed of Eric's progress after admission to hospital, said it would be hard to come to terms with the death of someone he'd known and worked closely with for 40 years.
Well, as I said, it's the saddest day. It was like when I lost my father. It's the same feeling. It's losing something very close to you. It's like losing a brother, isn't it? I mean, we've been together all those years. We've been together over 40 years. So I knew him as a boy, and I can't believe, really, that he's not there.
Ernie Wise said that Eric had been taking things easy lately, but he thought the final heart attack had been brought on by the stress of performing. He said they'd both taken these warnings seriously, and that's why they'd stopped working together as much.
But I couldn't see him not working, because he was too much of a performer. It wasn't in his nature to just sit. He would never have been able to sit at home, I don't think. Although he used to like fishing, but I don't think he could have stayed away from show business.
Ernie Wise on his former partner Eric Morecambe.